Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome again to the AM show. I'm Araba Kumsin. Very shortly, we'll be crossing back to location at the Ashaman Old Station where Winston Amwa and Benjamin Akakpo will be bringing us the newspaper review. Also, there's sports at 7 a.m. with Gary Al Smith. We'll also have that interview a correspondent, parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo had with Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. In this conversation, the Minority Leader talks about why he won't support anything more than 80 ministers next year. He also talks about Techiman South. You know, that has been a major topic in the news. Qualities the next speaker should have and why Parliament will be a stronger institution from next year. At 7:45 a.m. we cross over to Ashaman and we have this Arrival Live conversation in conjunction with the National Road Safety Authority. This is a program meant to educate and create awareness on the essence of staying safe on our roads, especially as we approach Christmas. There will be two roving cameras, that is Circle and Tema. Maxwell Apapa and Kwame Yanka will speak with commercial drivers about the accident rates, Christmas trips, lack of vehicle maintenance and other issues, as well as to passengers about their fears when they're traveling. Winston and Benjamin will interact with drivers and passengers at the Ashaman Lorry Park ahead of the Christmas festivities. There'll be intermittent, the main program starts at 9 a.m. We'll be joined by the National Road Safety Authority, the Motor Transport Department, the Ghana Police Service, DVLA, the Ministry of Health, among others, on this particular conversation. And we'll carry out some education on passengers, on road safety. And so you would want to stay with us. But let's cross over to Ashaman now, where Winston Amwa and Benjamin Akakpo are getting ready to bring us the newspaper review. Guys, are you ready?
So let me know when we're good to go. So thank you very much for joining us. We're coming to you live from the Ashaman main lorry station. It's a special, it's an outdoor broadcast, and of course, Benjamin Akakpo is here. I'm here with my big brother, I call him my big brother, Winston Amwa, who also is going to be joining me for the news review. Winston.
Yeah, Benjamin, what's up?
Charlie, cool things though.
Yeah, well, it's a Tuesday morning here at the Ashaman lorry station, like you've indicated.
Yep.
And it feels good to be back home, I call it.
Back home?
Yeah, back home. I mean, I used to play around in this area, so I know the area very well, and not bad. I'll tell you the stories later on.
Ashaman connections. So this morning I have the Ghanaian Times newspaper, the Daily Guide, and the New Crusading Guide. What papers do you have, Winston?
And I have the Chronicle, I have the Daily Statesman, I've got the Daily Graphic and the Finder as well.
Right. So let's quickly take a look at the headlines in the papers. And as time allows us, we'll dig into the stories. The Ghanaian Times this morning says, Accra at standstill. Yuletide causes traffic jam. And believe you me, I've been in some of these traffic jams. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I tell you. And I've experienced it too. It's terrible. I mean, it's one thing I like Christmas because you're an official Christmas station. But I also do think that, look, Christmas should come and go.
So we get back to normal traffic.
It's a Kenya traffic, you can put it that way.
There's also two policemen interdicted for attempting to sell firearms. This is a story that since yesterday has gained some prominence. Kaneshi Market fire victims to receive financial support. And for me, I've always been saying, so for how long will these fires keep ravaging our markets, and how long are we going to keep doling out sums of money? I don't think it is sustainable. I don't know what you think.
Well, I think we know the cause of fires. In 2012, 2013, we identify the causes as being the wiring of the market. 70-75% of the challenge was as a result of wiring.
Electrical faults.
And so if we know the problem, a problem well defined is half solved. What is preventing us from doing that? How about ensuring that we insure our markets? And so it doesn't have to become government's problem to consistently dole out money. But if markets are insured, if market women insure their produce, they go to the insurance companies and get compensation, or claims once they suffer these things. I think it's the way we have to.
I think something else to take stock of, part of the fires we've seen sometimes have to do with gas explosions and the rest. And so a lot of these in markets, I mean, it's a recipe for disaster.
But you see,
when you have gas tanks and all of that, they ought to be situated in certain quarters, but they are all over the place.
Exactly, but you see, Benjamin,
any fire would trigger something.
The point is, the whole idea of insurance is when a lot of people contribute for a few who would be at loss.
I'm not disputing the bit about insurance.
So,
it's a culture I think we don't have.
Yeah, we don't have it, but for me, yes, we need to ensure the right things are done, but while we are waiting for the right things to be done, we need to go for insurance and also ensure that, look, we're always talking about rebuilding markets. We're talking about making sure that markets are, rewired. We talk too much, we don't act. Too much of the talking in this country, I want to see action. But let me take you to the Chronicle newspaper. And I'd like to start off with the scripture for today, Proverbs 20 verse 1. It says, wine is a mocker, strong drink is a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. So for all of you who love to drink. Okay, listen to this. Psychiatrist warns government, legalizing weed in Ghana is dangerous. Stop it. Okay. And drama in court over discharge of Togoland separatists. And the back page says Milan clubs jostle to end year top of Serie A. Arteta blames Arsenal's winless run on poor conversion rate and finishing quality. Why is he the manager? And had a very bad time in the summer. That's according to Lionel Messi.
Well, there are a few things I'd wanted to add from the Ghanaian Times newspaper. You love your football, don't you?
I'm a football fan. I love Man United.
Which Ghanaian team? Let's start from our own. So which Ghanaian team do you?
Asante Kotoko.
Boss. Some people will be offended. Okay, what kind of when you come up. Please allow those
who are doing heart of lions.
You see, they have a phobia for us. But Mourinho unhappy with Spurs' attitude and Leicester defeat, and it appears 2 games back to back.
He should stop complaining.
They are just Spurs. They are no longer hot.
He should stop complaining.
He should stop complaining.
He's fond of that.
Well,
look, the back stops to the leader. It's as simple as that.
Anyway,
it is the reason why you're there. So don't explain problems to me. Solve
the problems.
You don't explain problems.
Anyway, so Pelé congratulates Messi for equaling a goal record. That's another one. Lionel Messi, the Barcelona forward, netting his 643rd goal there. But let me now quickly do the Daily Guide newspaper. The headlines, very interesting one to start off, Winston. Chief 70 dies during...
well, I mean, you might as well say it.
Sex.
Yeah,
during
that's what the story says, yeah.
Chief 70 dies during the thing.
Well, the paper says... the paper says sex, so... You're not the one saying it. You're reporting what the paper says.
It's being delivered by the Daily Guide newspaper. I don't have access to it. Rioting NDC supporters stone police officers, injured, cars damaged. AG Powers case adjourned indefinitely, and then government orders 6 million COVID-19 vaccines. On the back page, Maradona's death was a type of suicide. Interesting. And then Mo Salah, of course, of Liverpool, unhappy with his team.
Well, you should be thinking of moving, but the Daily Statement says Ghana to receive COVID-19 vaccines by end of March 2021. So we are 3 months away from receipt of COVID-19, vaccines. NDC behind market fires, NPP alleges. And the question you ask is, where is the evidence?
Right.
Don't just allege, don't just accuse. Let them be based on facts.
Winston, in the legal game, the focus, the most crucial point is evidence.
Exactly.
If you allege, you must prove.
Yeah.
And when I went into Cantamanto, when the fire raged, gutted the sewing section, knitting section of the market, some of the traders made mention of this, and each one of them I would ask, where is your proof? What do you have to show? And believe you me, none of them was able to give me anything concrete. We know in recent days, there's that gentleman, is it David or something, who was apprehended supposedly because he had been saying certain things. And that is where we also ought to watch our utterances, what we say.
Yeah, but you know one thing. I was in this country in 2013, following the 2012 elections. And there were lots of issues about, lots of concerns with market fires.
Right.
When we brought the Israelis in to check everything.
Yep, I keenly remember that.
At the time, the suspicion was that NPP members were doing that.
It's always the opposition.
It's the same script again. And what did you realize? We did all the research and found out that it was not the case. Do further investigations. Research has told you 70% of market fires as a result of poor wiring of markets. Please, electrical faults, please make sure the right things are done. And stop deceiving your supporters, Gabby Edges. Mahama, well, he's telling him, don't say you won, but Sports Personality of the Year, 2020, Lewis Hamilton, crowned winner. And 10-man Great Olympics beat Wafa. Hey, Oli, they are doing wonders. Oli.
You know, the other day, after the second win, someone was asking, now, Oli, that the because this sort of power is in the air.
Oh, to be tracked.
But you know, the last time I checked yesterday, our very own Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Kuma Apembe Bakrobia, we were in 7th, and Accra House of Work were also in 8th.
Oh, yes. So this one is like
any hope at the end of the tunnel?
You know, see, if we don't win crime, we beat Asufuk. That's the competition. The competition is not with any other team, but Accra had Sufuk.
Okay. So we beat them and it's good to go.
That's what the other teams, they are Sankwas. Don't mind them.
Let's do the new crusading guide now. It says NDC protests could spark post-election violence. That's according to the Peace Council. Yesterday I was interacting with Reverend Dr. Ernest Edu Jemfi, and some of that spilling into the conversation. NPP fingers NDC over market fires like you suggested. Boom, Katamanto MCE hot as group petitions Akufo-Addo to sack him. Now, this gentleman's situation, because now they are saying that no, because of the defeat we've suffered here, you must go.
That is what happens when your life is in the hands of a president. Why must you lead the people because the president wants you to do so? Why can't you lead the people based on the fact that the people have elected you, like we have in the case of MPs? And so if I am this man, I mean, if I am all, MMDCs, I always would fight that I get elected, so I have security of tenure.
You're going back to 2019
no,
and that near miss.
Yeah, because you see, the point is that you have a president
being able to elect these officials.
Here you are with, party supporters saying, he didn't help us, let's sack him. For Christ's sake, it is not about you. He's serving the interest of the community. When we reduce MMDCs to party service, that's what you get.
Do you feel it was, an error, a mistake on our part when back then we decided, no, let's not put this to the people
well, I think that,
because the speculation was that people were going to vote against it anyway.
Well, I think that the government at the time could have done a few things differently. If you realize that a lot of people were against the partisan election of MMDCs, go with the tide, move with the tide, let the people decide. See, the point is, you're serving the interest of the people. You're not serving your own interest. And if you're serving the interest of the people, you do what the people want you to do. And what the people wanted done at the time was to elect their MMDCEs, but on a non-partisan basis.
Right.
So do not deny them the opportunity to do so. Yeah, you may have had the plan of doing that through a partisan means. But I say, when the people say, Mr. President, we agree with you or we disagree on partisanship, you go with the people. I wanted it done in a partisan manner. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I wanted us to stop the hypocrisy.
Because like some have suggested, it's happening anyway. It's exactly what is happening.
I wanted us to stop the hypocrisy.
Why do you think this MCE is being pushed by party loyalists and all of that?
Well, because
of course, when you go down to it, the politics is in there and the alignment is in there. So, like it or not, it is happening. Though, honestly, I would opt for a non-partisan, option where you vote. But the point also is, as a student of political science, they'll tell you we are all political animals. Politics goes into the bedroom, it goes into everything, and like it or not, Masa, whoever will be there will have some
exactly his party would influence him anyway. So let him just be elected in a partisan manner. But that still doesn't hurt if you choose to elect him in a non-partisan manner. I don't mind.
Right, let's wrap up with the headlines now. Tension mounts at Northern Development Authority. You can grab a copy of that paper to get the details. And I think it's a wrap for that one. So maybe, if time suffices, we can do other headlines and dig into a few stories.
NPP accuses NDC of inciting supporters to set markets ablaze. We've talked about it. Go to court and stop the violence. National Peace Council charges NDC. Drought foreign traders could cause maize shortage, according to reports. And treasury bills sale significantly undersubscribed. And finally, I have the daily graphic that says, adhere strictly to road regulations, drivers cautioned ahead of Christmas. And there's a reason why
we're here.
Yes, because we want to, interact with our drivers. We want to ensure that as we go to, as we get ready for Christmas, they adhere to our road safety regulations and ensure that you and I would arrive alive. And the alleged meningitis, don't self-medicate, Ghana Health Service warns, stand still. Christmas shopping creates gridlock, and that's what we're talking about. And the back page, Cosmos Energy supports vulnerable groups with $50,000, and Ministry of Local Government presents motorbikes to MDAs. That's all I have with the daily graphic.
So let's start digging into the newspapers. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times, and on page 3, if you just check that out. Now, you remember the case of the Kita MP?
Yeah.
Okay, so alleged assailants of Kita MP elect remanded. And the story says the fetish priest from Anglo, Afiadenyingba, and 2 Nigerians cited in the recent attack on the MP elect of Kita, Jujoli Kwame Gakpe, and his family members were remanded by the whole circuit court last Thursday. Now Vincent Kwachiko, the priest, is the 3rd accused in the matter, while the Nigerians Fred Ebiye and Evans Kano are the 1st and 2nd accused respectively. The 3 who are charged with robbery were not asked to plead. Now the court, presided over by Mr. Felix Dachumo, remanded them in police custody until January 4, 2021 to enable the police to carry further investigations into the matter. So in a nutshell, that is what the story is. At least some progress being made on this matter. And this is not the only person we've seen who has been attacked. I mean, there have been a number of them. The Jomoro MP-elect, among others, who supposedly have been attacked, and at least a positive development from there. But tied to that, very quickly, because it's a security-related matter, 2 policemen interdicted for attempting to sell firearms, and the police administration has interdicted 2 policemen who were allegedly arrested for attempting to sell a gun and ammunition at Alajo in Accra at the weekend. The security personnel are Lance Corporal Emmanuel Abusayao and Lance Corporal Suleiman Yusuf, all of the visibility unit of the police at the headquarters in Accra. Alajo, interesting. You remember the alleged coup situation?
Yes.
Alajo is trending for all the arms-related issues.
They've been in the news for some wrong reasons. But the Daily Graphic and has the story with the reason why we're here that says adhere strictly to road regulations, and we're told that the Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Mary Obri Yaboa, has indicated that highways such as the Accra Kumasi, Accra Winneba and Aflao, Tamale, Kintampo, and Takwa Bogosa Yamfuri were hotspots for accidents during the festive season. It's one of the reasons why but the main reason why we are here today is to engage drivers and help them appreciate the fact that, look, lives matter. And people's lives are in their hands. And so as we drive, as we make merry during this festive season, we should be mindful of one fact. We must arrive alive. We must not arrive injured. We must arrive healthy and hearty. And that's very important. So
make merry, but in such a way that you won't be sorry at the end.
You should. I would make merry, but I'll do it such that I will live and live for the next 47 years.
But why 47?
Or I want to die at a certain age. I have asked God to grant me life.
Are you like Michael Jackson, who was forecasting? Well, he went quite far past the age that he had forecast.
I want to die in my 80s.
In your 80s? The Bible has something on that. It says 70 years for every man, 80 if you are strong. So you want to be in your 80s?
I want to be in my 80s.
That's to show you're a strong man.
I will try and hit 90 if God permits me. But I don't want to be a burden when I grow old.
Ayo. and talk of all of this reminds me of that Lord Kenya song from way back. Driver Susuko. Driver Susuko. Motorway now you're fast by, and a lot of people, you see the way they drive, Charlie Susuko. Let's do this one. Kaneshi Market fire victims to receive financial support. I was talking about it. So the angling here is that owners of the 9 shops at Kaneshi Market in Accra, which were ravaged by fire on Saturday, will receive financial support from the, guess what, Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslock, to restock their trade. Now, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Hajia Alima Mahama, who disclosed this yesterday, said this would be a supplement to the support to be given them by the market management. And so that's the latest on that development. Of course, I mean, like I put it, I have my own concerns about all of these incidents, and we've gone to invest our money. It has gone bust. Government, give us money. Our market has gone up in flames. Government, give us money. Maybe someday some things will happen and we'll also go for some money. Let's check out some more stories.
So talking about money, and Treasury bills sales significantly undersubscribed is in the Finder, and says for the first time since the third week in November, sale of Treasury bills to investors, has been undersubscribed in the weekly auctioning. Now we're told that right after the December elections, the weekly Treasury bill was highly oversubscribed by 21%, but that has been short-lived as there's been a huge undersubscription. While government was looking for 1.79 billion, it rather got 971 billion for the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day Treasury bill, and the rate is at 14%. It could prove to be the reason why people may not want it. But also, when it happens like that, when government is unable to raise funds locally, you ask yourself, from what other avenues can government raise funds?
Yeah.
And that'll be, from foreign sources. But if government decides to do so externally, at what cost would that be to the government and the people of Ghana? And so what that actually means is that, look, one, if you get lots of money domestically, you crowd out businesses, the banks would be happy to buy Treasury bills from government. It's a non-risky investment. So what that means is that the private sector wouldn't get a lot of money. If you also go externally, at this stage, and we're getting to distress levels, we're going to be borrowing. We're getting to.
We are in.
No, because of COVID, we're getting to. We are in, but because of COVID, we're getting to. And the reason is that COVID-19 has taught the world that a lot of countries are struggling. And so you may not want to use the same indices that you used previously, right? Because Ghana has had to borrow for certain expenditures that were not anticipated. So while we're getting to that, what that tells you is that you become a risky country. And so you attract a high interest rate. If you attract a high interest rate, investors will look at you and say, this country is debt distressed.
Is my investment going to be safe there?
No, So it tells you, no, my investment wouldn't be safe, because they could always come back and increase taxes. So why don't I look elsewhere? So the ripple effects are many. And if there's one thing we have to do, we have to work on our debt levels.
And for a country like ours, where GDP growth, acceleration of the economy is supposed to hit certain targets, double digits, sustained for about 10 years, 15 years, for us to reach certain pedestals when it comes to the economy.
That's a fuss.
And for COVID-19 to have hit, that creates its own,
that's a fuss. Everybody tells you, we're going to hit. How do you achieve that? How do you want to achieve that? How do you want to achieve?
And that is why it's also relevant that we recently came up with our anti-money laundering law. You know why? Because we've been in that gray bracket when it comes to the evaluating institutions across the world. And that also means that when you're sourcing funds from across the world, it is more difficult, because money laundering is an issue in your country. We've been blacklisted a number of times. 2008, I remember, and some other years. Even now, we are in those gray areas. So that law will also at least.
But you see, the point about growing at double digits, we're looking at our total output. What new thing are we going to introduce in this country by way of output to push us up there? What are we going to do? We're rebased. We're where we are. What are we going to do? Look, I agree with those who say that we should be looking at cutting our coat according to our cloth. You have a situation of COVID-19. You don't go into the next fiscal year thinking so much about infrastructural investments. What you do is to remedy the situation in such a way. This is a country where, look, interest payments and emoluments from the first quarter, it's 143% of tax revenue. What are you talking about? Sometimes we tickle ourselves and laugh, but hey, let's move on.
But in terms of tightening our belts and all of that, I've been asking myself, our number of ministers, for example, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, has been speaking about that, the number that he's expecting when it comes to ministerial posts. I think we should lower the numbers.
Yeah.
Because Charlie, right now, in COVID and all the wahala, and all of us are tightening our belts. You can't have 100 and 20
I have asked
ministers.
myself, for instance, what do the regional ministers do? The regional ministers, what do? They coordinate the district assemblies. The same district assemblies that will report to the local government ministry.
Yeah.
Because in our decentralization module, we have the coordinating council. They are the coordinators of decentralization. Then we have the towns and country planners. They are the managers. So that the assemblies will manage it. The unit committees are implementers of our decentralization process. Do you need a minister to coordinate it? How does he coordinate it? How does he make sure it works? I think if we want to reduce the number of ministers, start with regional ministers. Right. Do not appoint a single regional minister.
Right. So
keep it there, and you've lost 132 ministers. You've reduced it by 32 if you don't appoint regional ministers.
16 regions by 2.
By 2, so 32. You see? Then you stop the Ministry of Planning. You stop the monitoring and evaluation. Information can be merged with communication.
I think we should do something. One of these days we should sit down, look at our ministries that we feel should go, and then make a presentation to government. Write an open letter to His Excellency the President. We'll be crossing over to sports now, but I just wanted to highlight this story. I know you're very interested in it, Winston. The bit about the chief, William Ejay, 66-year-old man believed to be a chief, dying in Koforidua in a guest house in the New Joabin North Municipality of the Eastern Region after having sex with a 25-year-old lady. Your brief take on this matter?
Let investigations.
20 seconds.
Let investigations decide.
Investigations to be conducted
to find out what really happened to him. For now, it's speculation.
Anyway, so it's a wrap for the news review coming your way live from here, the Ashaman main lorry station. Don't you forget, the hashtag is ArriveAlive. We're crossing over now to Gary, who has sports up next. Stay with us.